let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go. 6. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
It is a new week. It is a new month. Good to have you along on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. If you're listening on the stream, thank you so much for bringing us up in the mornings. If you're watching on Facebook, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. You can leave comments in the comment section and also set your notifications so you know when we go live. You can follow us on our other social media channels, X, Facebook. Stop that. Stop playing around.
How do I see the comments? I can't see comments. How do
Sure
I do
you
that?
can. Because they're not there yet.
Oh. No, nobody's commented yet?
Nobody's commented yet.
Did we make everybody mad already on a Monday?
This is the dangerous thing I did yesterday. We went to Des Moines to work with Ross, and we gave him controls of the ship.
Screwed it all up.
And we screwed it all up. I had him neutered for a little bit, but we reversed the neutered, and now you have control.
Buckle
it's okay.
up.
Now you should have just gotten your first comment in.
I see him now. Hey,
okay.
Wade, what's up, Jay? All right.
Yeah.
Because normally by the time I sign on to the comments,
Yes.
man, let me think about who it is. Got a couple. Jason has usually commented. Tony's usually like, "Hey, what's up, fellas?"
Look, most people like to say good morning
Good morning,
to us.
guys. Morning, fellas. Thanks so much, Brian. Morning.
And so
all you
we
guys.
here we go. Here we go. We're just
That's
gonna.
it.
Ross, we were talking yesterday. He goes, "Trav's gonna kill me because he just knows that I'm gonna go crazy with this thing." But that's fine. But we gave Ross the keys to the ship, and he's going to be mothering the ship. He's going to be captaining the ship later on in the week, and so we had to get him all up to speed.
I think this is good. You know, I'm getting ready to go through the driving learning thing with Eli.
Yeah,
There's a lot of similarities here. You know what I mean? Like the first time that you drive a boat, you don't just get out and hammer it, right? You make sure you can get away from the dock. Make sure you know how to go left, go right, go straight, stop.
Don't hit the other boats in front of you.
Make sure guilty.
You've hit another boat?
Oh, dude. First time I went up to Lake of the Woods, Gary says, there's two types of boaters on Lake of the Woods. There's boaters who have hit stuff, and there's boaters who are gonna hit stuff. And a few years ago, I went from Category 2 to Category 1.
Now, did you hit a boat or did you hit like a tree limb? You hit a boat, didn't you? You hit a boat.
I about killed Gary and my buddy Ryan Carlstead.
Or were you just coming in hotter than hell or what?
It was a rough day. We're out in some tough waters. We're not having good fishing. And all of a sudden, Gary hits a little hole, and he's catching fish. So now he's waving us over. Come over here, tie up off of the back end of my boat. You know, you'll have 8 feet of rope between the two boats, so that there's enough room for drifting and all that, and the waves. But that way, at least we're fishing the same spot here where the fish are.
Okay.
So I'm trolling up to him. I'm like, just inching up to him, and not trolling. I've got the actual motor in. Again, I have PTSD about it. As I'm drifting towards him, Travis, something in my mind tells me that he's in reverse coming at me. And I thought I was in reverse. It was a weird wind day. It's loud. And as we're coming in a little bit faster than I want to come in, again, I'm thinking I'm in reverse. I give it gas to back away from it.
Oh.
Not realizing I'm in gear, and as I hit the gas, Ryan's up on the bow of I almost said ship. Ryan's up on the bow of the boat.
It's a boat.
And Gary's on the back end of his boat, and we're coming in like this. And I went up over the top of Gary's boat.
Oh, you went over the boat?
I didn't go over it. I went up. I went started to.
See, I've only captained one boat in my life. You notice how I use the word captain on it?
I like it. It's what. Yeah, sure. Go ahead, man. Where the
so I was the captain of a pontoon in Lake of the Ozarks. So we rented a pontoon, and now I don't know if Lake of the Ozarks is the first place you should rent a pontoon and drive around, because Lake of the Ozarks is pretty busy, right?
My God. And like it's enormous how
Yes.
much shoreline there is and all that.
And you can get lost pretty easy too. Never got lost, but I captained a pontoon one time. But I'm not a boat person. I'm not a fisherman. I'm really not anything. Is what it's coming down to. I'm pretty much nothing, and we've established that now.
Here we go. If Draper ever did fronts and backs, I'm not a fisherman, and then on the back, I'm really not anything.
It's true. It's true. I do need to thank you, though, because we went up to visit you yesterday. So Owen and I were in Des Moines yesterday to visit to Ross to give him the keys to the car. And I want to thank you because the 4 hours that Owen and I spent in the car together is probably the most time we spent together in the last several years in one consecutive time, right? And we had good conversation. He's different than my girls. My girls they're chatterboxes. I wouldn't say Owen is a chatterbox, all right? And he's pretty private, and I don't know where he gets that from, because his wife, or my wife's not very private, and I'm definitely not a private person. And maybe my vulnerability or my perceived openness, should we say, has kind of said, I don't want to be like that. But it was a good 4 hours together, which was nice. But I think it hit home even more, Ross. I woke up, for some reason, I woke up early today. I woke up about 2 a.m. And
wow.
Yeah, I know. So I've been up for a while. And then I get, what happens when you wake up early? You start scrolling the phone, right? You're like, oh, well, I can't sleep. I'm going to start scrolling the phone, which means you're never going back to sleep.
Right.
But first thing I turned it on, good friend of mine, younger than me, I don't even know if he's 50 yet, was in the hospital. He had a heart attack, and I'm like, it was the Widowmaker, and he was actually he was doing CrossFit, because he's a big CrossFitter.
Yeah, this is why I don't work out anymore. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean,
shouldn't make jokes about it.
No,
Is
you
he
shouldn't
all right?
make jokes about it. But
He's in the hospital. That means he survived.
Well, so he like died.
Oh
and,
my gosh!
And luckily, they had an AED on premise, and the people there also knew CPR. But you're just sitting there going, and I just thought to myself, man, I'm glad I got to spend 4 hours with my son yesterday, because it's just another reminder. You never know when it's going to happen. And you look at somebody, you're like, you're a picture of health, you're in shape, you work out all the time. You just never, ever know, right? And you can work out all the time, but you can still have plaque build up in your arteries, and there's not much you can do about it.
I'd still trust that working out is good for you.
No. I would agree with that.
But it can happen quick, man.
Yeah.
I had a great conversation with my dad a couple weeks ago before he had that big surgery. I had like one of those life conversations with him. I hope that stuff with you and Owen never stops. I need help with Eli. So maybe you can, while we're talking about being a dad, how in the hell does a room go from so clean to so dirty so fast?
Well,
it's remarkable.
It is remarkable. You are in that time. He's 14, 15 years old. So, I mean, they just don't care at this point. You basically look at age 14 to 18, just leave them alone. I mean, it's just like because if you don't, you'll just be banging your head against the wall trying to fix a problem that's never going to get fixed. Like, Greta owns the upstairs in our house, and it literally owns the upstairs. I don't even go up there. When her mom goes up there, I can just see the frustration in her face that she's just like, are you going to clean this? And Anjanette went up there like a month ago just to clean her room, and she got yelled at for it. She goes, "Look, what are you doing? What are you cleaning my room for?" And I just said, you know what? She's going to be gone here in 6 months. Just let her be a slob.
Yeah,
let her be a slob.
All right.
I would say Mary was probably like that, and now she's like the most anal one when it comes to her apartment in New Orleans.
Okay.
I mean, she's like a clean freak.
Like, it's remarkable. The other day, I went in. I'm like, hey, this is hitting the tipping point here. Need to get busy cleaning the room. Okay. And then, like, an hour later or so, he wanted to go do something. He's like, hey, Dad, I got the room clean. I went down there and I opened the door like an idiot. First time dad. I opened the door and go, oh, yeah, the floor. I can see the floor. It's clean. And he left. He went to his girlfriend's house, right? It's about an hour later. I'm doing dishes. I'm like, I'm going to make sure he's got all the dishes out of his room. I go into his room. Trav. He did the kid thing, like shoved everything under his bed, right? So I called him. I'm like, hey, I'm coming to get you. You're coming back here and cleaning this room. So I went and picked him up from his girlfriend's house, brought him back home, and he actually cleaned the room. And I do mean under the couch, under the bed. It's clean. The room is looking good. I'm like, dude, way to go. All right, take you back to the girlfriend's house. That was Wednesday. No, that was Friday. Anyway. He left his bedroom light on. I just went in to pop his bedroom light off because he's already at baseball practice. Yeah,
you disappeared. We were getting ready for the show, and Ross just disappeared. I'm like, where did Ross go? And he comes back, and Ross like, I just had to run Eli to school. I'm like, you could have told me. I'm like, hello? Anybody there? Anybody getting ready for the show?
Nobody was here. You were screaming at Kirby.
You brought up something when it comes to the kids, and I get frustrated by it. And it's kind of like I go, you can have your clothes all over the place. You can have shoes all over the place. I don't care. It's the dirty dishes, right? If you're going to bring food up into your room, I'm not against you eating in your room. Don't leave the dishes there. That's because that's just an invitation for mice.
Yes.
Right? It's an invitation for mice.
Both of us live in old houses. Get Corey over too often
Yeah.
Eli loves they love the pizza, the Papa John's, right? And they get the little garlic cup with the Papa John's.
Yeah.
Went in, I found a garlic cup. I'm like, hey, get rid of the garlic cup. Oh yeah. Like
still there.
3 days later, I'm in his room. We're standing there talking. And I look over. Here's the garlic cup.
Mold all over it yet?
Hey, didn't I ask you to throw away that garlic cup? Oh, that's a different one. Okay, all right, let's make a general rule about garlic cups. I didn't know I had to specifically point out each one and say, garbage this one, garbage that one. You know what? That one looks like it doesn't have green spots on it yet. Put that in the fridge. Maybe we
let's just do a blanket. All garlic cups must leave, and pizza boxes.
Yeah,
with crust.
You, Trav. If it had food in it, if it touched food, can we just get it out of the room? The dirty laundry. That just becomes like this traditional stand-up comedy routine. Like the stink from his room. You hit the hallway and you're like, it reminds you of when you're in high school and you'd turn down the room that had the wood shop.
Is it borderline hockey locker room type?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. You can't like put your finger
unsmell
on it. You're never gonna unsmell it, right? You're like, is it a sock? Is there like did something has died, but it was sick before it died?
Oh, the wonders of teenagers. Wonders of teenagers. I've got like 6 months left, which is Anjanette's getting really sentimental. I mean, so we're going to be empty nesters in September, and she's getting really sentimental now. So like everything brings tears to her eyes. I'm like, it's going to be okay. 3 others have left the nest. You've been just fine. And I'm just waiting for her to break out in tears. Go, it's not that she's leaving. It says I've got to spend all this time with you. That's what I'm waiting for.
I just don't like you.
Yeah,
I also love the kids, but I don't like you.
Which could very much happen. But yes.
My buddy Dusty, they're in the exact same boat, Trav, where they're going to be empty nesters here in just a couple months. He put something on Twitter the other day. He's like, my wife just realized we're going to be empty nesters in a few months, and she started crying at the bar, and now there's 6 dudes that want to fight me.
Oh, man.
Oh, I thought that was good. You imagine sitting at the bar and you're like, oh, that lady's upset.
What did he do?
I wonder what those people are breaking up. Look at that. They look like they're breaking up.
We're going to defend her honor and win her heart all in the same time. That's what we're going to do. Kick his butt and win her heart.
Butthead, what'd you say to the lady?
What'd you make her cry for?
I said, where do you want to go on vacation next fall? That's what I said. And I reminded her that it's going to be just the two of us. She's crying because I asked her where she... It's just going to be the two of us. I'm stuck with you now.
See, you've got some time. You've got 3 years before Eli goes.
Yeah.
And then you've got another, 6 or 7 years after that. So you've got some time. My time is a-ticking.
Yeah, I know. I've watched it tick, man.
Yeah, and it goes quick. Yeah, you've watched all my kids leave the nest.
Fun conversation with Owen yesterday as we were having lunch, and I was like, yeah, Owen, I remember when I very first met you, and you were, man, he was probably 10, 11, something like that, and he was convinced that bitter was not a flavor, that people were making up, and then he's like, I'm not quite as passionate about it. I don't think people are lying to me about it anymore.
He makes a good argument, though, right? Because
Describe it.
Yeah, describe bitter.
Yeah.
And what was the example that you guys used?
Because he said, describe bitter. And I said, well, when I think of the drink Malort or coffee, or what was we came up with 3 things, or dark chocolate. But now, besides using that word bitter, explain to me how Malort, bad coffee, and dark chocolate are the same.
And you can't.
It's really hard. And so, like, sour is a flavor that each of us would experience, right? If we had something sour, and ooh.
Well, I mean, if you were to take a lemon, just a regular lemon, and
Yeah.
have it, you'd be like, okay, it makes you pucker, right? And if you get the extreme sour gummies, you get the same reaction to it.
Yeah.
You know that, oh, that's sour. Bitter has a much wider range than
Gray
sour
area.
does.
Anyway. This is the stuff they tune in. This is the stuff people tune in for the Rush for.
It
Wonder what the boys
is.
think about bitter.
I've never taken the time to think about bitter that much, but he certainly has.
It was a fun conversation.
It can get really philosophical after time. The Drake Bulldogs rallied from 10 down in the second half yesterday, forced overtime against Missouri State, held Missouri State without a basket, Ross, the last, I think, 7.5 minutes, all of overtime in the last, 3 minutes of regulation to win its 27th game of the year, a new school record for regular season games. Its 17th Missouri Valley Conference win, a new school record for conference wins, and cut down the nets. They were going to cut down the nets regardless because they'd already won the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. I think of all the stats this year, this might be the most impressive, and it shows you the fine line between a really successful year and 27 wins and a year that could have, ended up being a number 2, a number 3, or even a number 4 seed in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. Drake was 5-0 in overtime games this year. Wow. They went to overtime 5 times and won all 5 games in overtime. That's not easy to do.
5 overtime games seems like a lot. And to go 5-0 in those is very impressive. I don't know what that says about Coach McCollum. Here's Travis. I think that maybe that Travis has the same thing about Ben McCollum and his team that this win does. Maybe one of those is a microcosm of the bigger story that the other one tells. Hear me out. That we were going into this game, even when we had the conversation with Coach McCollum this week, it was almost kind of like, what are you playing for? You guys wrapped it up. Like you just said it. They're cutting down the nets no matter what happened. They could have lost by 20. It would have been a different type of ceremony, but they would have cut down the nets no matter what, right? Because they were regular season champs and had it locked up. And they continued to play, and they continued to fight. And maybe that overtime thing is, I think there's a lot to it. I think that part of the conversation about them being so good in overtime is that conversation we've had about this team playing together for so long. These guys know each other. These guys trust each other. They trust their coach. They've known for a while that they were going to be able to play at this level. and they kind of played with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. And all of those things show themselves in a thing like overtime, show themselves at the end of a season. That's when you show your grit and kind of what you're made of, right? And grit and character are all determined by those years of work and knowing each other.
If you were a betting man, and I'm going to put you on the spot here. I didn't prepare you for this question, but it just kind of popped into my head as we were getting ready for the show. And that is, if you were a betting man, is Ben McCollum the head coach at Drake next year?
I'm probably betting no on that, Trav. And I hate to say that, because it's going to be really hard for Brian Harden to triplicate this, to say, all right, we're going to find the third coach in a row. We've all seen this long enough at Drake. It's tough. It's a tough place to win. It's looked easy this last decade.
Yeah, it has.
They've made it look a lot easier than it really is. And finding the guy that makes it look easy and that has that success right away, the way that Darren and Ben both have, that's going to be really difficult. What's best for Ben McCollum is this ain't Duke. It's Drake. So what's best for Ben McCollum, if he wants to go on, have life-changing money and compete at the absolute highest level against the Coach K's of the world, then he's probably gonna go, and he's gonna be the I love this, that girl with the curl, right? He's gonna be the hot commodity, one of the hot commodities. We've already seen it. You even asked him about it, being mentioned on every job.
You know, he said something very interesting in our interview last Friday. And if you missed the interview with Ben McCollum, go back and watch or listen to Friday's show. And it's about an hour and a half in. He started about 7:30. But he said something very interesting about the Missouri Valley Conference. You know, I asked him about the Missouri Valley Conference and competing in it. And you know, he brought up this is a new Missouri Valley Conference, meaning Creighton's no longer there, Wichita State's no longer there, Missouri State is leaving. And he brought up, you know, in the Missouri Valley Conference, you're going to have to rebuild a team almost every single year. Because what happens is the players that stand out, the players that stick out and make a mark are going to be pursued, they're going to be recruited, they're going to be offered a lot of money by Power 5 teams.
They get the call from Kansas.
Yes. And that's going to be, and that's not going to go away. That's going to be a mid-major problem no matter where you're at. And so you bring that up and you're like, okay, is that something a coach wants to do every year? You know, TJ Otzelberger at Iowa State's not going to have to rebuild a team year after year after year. He might lose some, but he's not going to have to do an overhaul every single year.
And even if you do, because there will be times when he will have to, and there will be, and because he did that.
Yes.
But this is a weird thing to say. I was going to say it's an easier thing to do at that level. It's easier to draw talent. It's
True.
easier to get talent if you're Iowa State than it is Drake. That's an obvious thing. So that's what I mean by that. It's not as easy to win the Big 12 as it is to win the Missouri Valley, certainly. Another obvious one. But it does happen at that level, and it can be done. And at that level, you've got a much bigger microphone to scream and yell, hey, open spots here at the Division I level. So it's a tough job. What about you, Trav? You're way better at this stuff than me.
I wouldn't say that, and maybe I'm just lucky at guessing. I'm actually going to say I'm going to have a caveat on this. Okay. So I know it's wishy-washy. It might be a little Pollyanna-ish, but I'm going to say unless he gets the Iowa job, I think he will be. And the only reason I'm going off that is the loyalty he had for 11 years at Northwest Missouri State.
Yeah.
He admitted that he was offered jobs along the way. Now, we don't know if those were higher Division II jobs, if they were really lower Division I.
Let's assume they were on par with Drake or lower.
Yeah. But you're probably asking yourself, do you want to go do this in the Sun Belt or something like that? So I think he's shown that he's a patient enough man to wait for the right opportunity. Huh. Now,
Travis, do you remember why he said he picked Drake? Because we asked him, you had all those offers. What made this place be the one that you said yes to? He said two things. Do you remember what they were?
Brian Harden was one of them.
Brian
right?
Harden was number 2. He said, I really like Brian. I met with Brian. I was like, oh, yeah, this is the guy I want to meet with. But that was second because his first filter was, I'm an Iowa boy. There's something about Iowa people that love Iowa. Quite frankly, people love home.
Yes.
People love home. I think it has something to do with the gravity and the way that our water and our butt. Anyway, people love home. And that was something that was important to him, was being an Iowa boy and then being someplace he felt comfortable, could raise his family, all of those, you know what I mean? All the other things that he was talking about there. Within that, something about Drake and being with Brian Harden, and I really like this guy. So I think I wrote down a lot of things here because I wanted to touch about. Can we talk about Ben McCollum for a second?
Absolutely.
Trav, on Friday, I was blown away with his personality.
Well, I think a lot of people were. I mean, I got a lot of feedback going, man, they hadn't heard Ben McCollum maybe that open, or and it was really the story about Bruce Pearl was kind of the one that took it over the top, right?
It was several things. I don't know what it was about maybe seeing him and talking to him in that way. The Ben McCollum that I had been introduced to through the media up to this point, that was a different guy. That was a more personable guy. That was a fun guy to talk to. Not that he didn't seem like a fun guy. What he seemed like through what I had seen was a buttoned-up guy. He seemed like a guy that we were going to talk to, and he was, It was going to be hard to get some fun answers out of him. And, we were going to spend most of the time talking about the roster. And, man, as soon as he came on, you had that attitude of like, oh, yeah, this is how a dude goes into living rooms and convinces kids to come play basketball for him. Because he's a fun guy. He's a cool guy. And then he starts telling you these stories. You're like, I get it.
And no short of ego. And what I mean by that is he's very confident in himself. That comes through. And and a competitor. He let it. He kind of showed himself when he's like, even in fourth grade, he was the guy that wouldn't shake hands, would get pissed off when they lost.
Okay. Competitiveness, competitive nature, all that. See, I'm fascinated by this word ego. I really am, because
everybody has an ego. It's just how you display the ego.
And I think that sometimes, like, you did a really good job there of kind of bringing confidence and ego.
Yes,
because they kind of run parallel for a moment.
I mean, you can't be a Division I basketball coach and not have an ego.
You can't.
But it's how you display it. It's how you display it. Danny Hurley displays his ego in a completely different way than most other coaches, right? It's how you present yourself. So we could substitute ego for confidence, sure.
Again, you do a better job with those things, with that ego thing.
515-517-2303. We'll continue our Missouri Valley Conference talk as the official bracket will come out later this morning, right around 8 o'clock. They're waiting for the NET rankings to come out because there's some tiebreakers that need to be settled. And we'll kind of go through what Arch Madness will look like in the week ahead for Drake and you and I on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Hi, I'm John Linares, sales manager at Willis Lexus, and this month we're going to help you find your perfect match. Stop out and see us. We've got great inventory of NX and NX Hybrid, TX, and ES. We have more inventory arriving daily, and this month Lexus has also brought back the very popular 42-month lease. Stop out and see us or visit us online at willislexus.com.
Largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Listen to the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com all day long. Just click that Listen Live link and you'll be able to join the show in progress. Runs while we're not live on the air. If you are a podcaster and like to listen to the podcast, you can always find it at therushradio.com or wherever you find your podcast. I'm Travis Justice. He is Ross Peterson.
Just hold on one second. Watch this.
He's got to get more coffee. He just gets up, walks away, gets himself some Folgers. I got to be disappointed. I am a little disappointed with you because you drink Folgers. You're a better man than that. I saw all those.
Let's talk about this, okay?
Okay, you had all those Folger things in there. I know it's cheap coffee. I get it, but that it's not good coffee.
All right, let's talk about this.
Okay.
Right? So, as you know, Trav, things got rough around the Peterson house here.
That's true. That's true.
During the winter time, you know. And sacrifices had to be made, my friend. All right? Budgets got tight, belts got tightened, and decisions were made. All right? Now, one of those decisions that was made was I still needed coffee. I needed coffee. And I'm at Hy-Vee or I probably Hy-Vee. And they had it was like $7 for these giant things of Folgers. And I was like, well, wait, for like $14, I could buy a couple of these and I've got coffee for a few weeks.
For maybe a year for how much Folgers you had.
That was the thought on it. All right. So now, thanks to our friends at Atlantic Bottling, I've got some ways to flavor up that coffee, make it a little better. Okay. Because it's not just straight Folgers that I'm chugging here. I'm not main veining the street rocks here. It's not that. I'm juicing it up a little bit, giving it some flavor. Now, financial ship has righted. We're going sold a house over the weekend.
I saw that
in the yard.
What was that? The house in Ogden?
That was the house in Ogden. Yeah, I thought that one would be a little bit longer of a process. So that was good to get that one out of the way. Travis, like, I'm not trying to be. I know people get turned off sometimes when we talk about God, but holy cow! When I met with this seller selling this house for his mom, he told me that he's like, I'd like to sell this house to a young family. Like, I see this house going to like a young family who wants to live in Ogden and make this their home. And I got this offer, and the guy says, "Hey, man, I got this young family. They really love Ogden. They want to make this their home." You threw a dart, and it landed on my seller's heart. So congratulations. And it was perfect. It was really one of those conversations on Saturday night. I got off the phone. I'm like, this is why I love doing what I do. That feeling. That's not. I'm not making a lot of money on this deal. It's a friend of mine. In fact, it's a friend that we worked with for a long time. It's his dad, his mom. So very cool. Very, very fun weekend for that.
Well, congratulations. It always feels good to. No wonder you bought lunch yesterday. He was feeling it. Ross bought lunch yesterday.
I'm in the flow. Feeling the groove.
The flow. We were talking about Drake earlier, and the Arch Madness, the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, is this week in St. Louis. And we will have a correspondent in St. Louis. Justin Miller will be down there for his Media Row podcast, and he will also be joining Ross, I believe, on Friday to host the show.
I haven't told him that yet, but yeah, he's gonna.
Yeah, he's gonna. He doesn't have much choice. But they... We're just telling him, Justin, you got to get up really early.
I think he knew about that. He doesn't know about the other days because I didn't know the exact days you're gone. So I haven't told him all of them. But Justin, if you're listening, buckle up. You got some days coming up that you're hosting.
Yeah. Now I mean, for being gone almost 2 weeks, I'm actually, if all the internet and everything works, I'm hitting quite a few shows. It's just I'm going to miss a couple, and we'll need somebody to fill the seat. But
no biggie.
The Missouri Valley Conference tournament bracket has not officially been announced yet. Now, we can kind of get a pretty good idea, Ross. We do know that Drake's going to be the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Bradley will be the number 2 seed because it beat Northern Iowa yesterday. Northern Iowa dropped into that number 3 seed. Belmont will be the number 4 seed. The reason we have to wait is because there was a tie between Illinois State and UIC. And so that tie for 5th place is going to be determined by the NET rankings, which will come out at approximately 8 o'clock this morning. Those two teams split during the Missouri Valley Conference season, and so the final numbers will be confirmed. As of yesterday, the NET numbers had Illinois State at 123 and UIC at 141. I don't see UIC jumping that high. That would be, 18 spots. I just don't see that happening. So I would kind of pencil in right now until the official bracket comes out that Illinois State will be the number 5 seed and that UIC will be the number 6 seed. Murray State has the 7th seed locked up. Now it comes the determination for the 8th, 9th, and 10th seed. So either Indiana State or Illinois State will be the 8th seed and the 9th seed, and then Evansville will be the 10 seed because it loses the 3-way tiebreaker for those. And right now, Southern Illinois was at 190, Indiana State was at 213, and Evansville was at 243. Now, the weird thing about this is that Indiana State beat SIU by 18 points on Sunday. So that may tighten that NET gap, right? It's that, okay, we know the NET is higher for Southern Illinois, but Indiana State turned around and beat them by 18 points. That may bring it all together. So depending on how you want to break the bracket down, that's what we have to wait for.
In a week, it won't matter.
It won't matter in a week. It won't matter.
Let's talk about those first 4 seeds. That's really what's going to matter.
Yes.
So outside of that, figure it out, guys. Somebody show up, get your ass kicked by one of these top 4. Let's get to the finals here because unfortunately that's all that matters in this. And let's not screw this up by having a Murray State make a run. Really, let's not screw this up. Let's not have a 16 seed. Let's not be a play-in game in Dayton. If it's Drake, if it's Bradley, if it's which by the way, we got to see both of those games on Sunday when you were here. We had an eye on both of those games. Man, Bradley looked really good the second half.
Yes.
Then you've got a chance to go there and make some noise, I think, and upset a team. Get to the weekend. We'll see, but I don't think the tiebreakers and figuring out which 6-win Valley team is going to play whatever. Figure it out. Let's go.
The good news is Drake gets a first-round bye, and how things have changed when you and I first started doing this show, it was just get to you don't play the play-in game, right? It don't be one of those first 4 that had to play early on, and things have changed dramatically. And Northern Iowa's always been in that position. They've never had to really worry about falling into those last seeds to where they'd have to have a longer haul. Drake now has consistently been a first-round bye and getting into a position to where they're in a much better spot to compete for a championship. And at 27 wins, you're seeing it now. A lot of people saying this team should get an at-large bid. Don't count on it, folks. Just don't count on it.
Depends on the net ranking, where they are in that stuff.
And if you want Drake to get an at-large bid, then you better hope for no upsets in any other college basketball conference tournaments, because that's what screws a lot of things up, is when the favorites don't win, especially at the mid-major level. You get one of these and you're like, ooh, that's not good. But Drake is where it's positioned itself the best it could, and that's the number 1 seed in the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament. I think Northern Iowa sitting in a good spot at number 3. It will have to play Bradley again, most likely in the semifinals. But Drake is in the driver's seat, and that's what they're just got to go out and win. That's all you can say is just go out and win.
Yep.
I bet you get a pretty good contingent from Des Moines and Central Iowa to go down and watch these games. Arch Madness is one of my favorite tournaments. I've been to several conference tournaments. They do it right in St. Louis.
Trav, let's not.
But what I'm saying is it's nice to have a crowd there. I've been many times where teams are good, and if you don't have fan support and it turns again, you want to be the loudest one in the arena. That there's some motivation there. That's a push, a tush push.
There's a contingent. You're not gonna. There's no you're not gonna get charter flights for a Drake. There's a contingent. We have a lot of them that listen to this, so we'll head down there. You're right. That will be great. It's not like, hey, let's make sure we're packing the arena. It's not possible. It's not possible. You had a great season, filled up the Knapp Center. That was awesome. I feel like sometimes we oversell this thing of all the Drake contingent going down there. There's people going down there for the game. Let's not oversell it.
You think a couple thousand go down?
Sure.
That's code for he doesn't care, and that's fine.
Thank you.
Yes,
picking up what I'm putting down.
I'll just go out and say it. That's code for you don't care.
It's code for go win the games. I'm not that. It's a big arena. Yes, I'm hoping that it's a raucous environment, and yes, I'm hoping that there's a ton of Drake fans down there. That'd be amazing. I don't think that that's the determining factor, and I'm certainly not going to sit here and be like, oh, man, I can't wait to see the blue and white striped arena. It's not possible. And Brian, if it were, Brian Harden and the crew would be doing all of that stuff. If you can get down there, if you're a loyal Drake fan, go down and support them. Best of luck to Ben and the boys. That's the most important thing.
Did you watch the Academy Awards at all?
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
Yes, I'm dead serious.
I couldn't care less. A group of people that I don't care about talking about movies I'll never see. Never see them.
I actually was surprised. I'd seen 4 of the movies that were up for Best Picture. Now, I didn't set out to see them. I saw one in the theater in the. Well, what I mean is, I shouldn't say that. That came off totally wrong. It wasn't like, oh, I got to go see this movie. I saw the one.
So you did You did leave the house with the intention of seeing these movies, but it wasn't like you saw previews of them and were like, "Oh my God, I got to see this movie." That's what you meant by that.
Well, I would say this: I saw 2 in the theater, and I saw 2 at home. So I saw A Complete Unknown, which is the Bob Dylan biopic.
Okay.
We saw that on Christmas Day. The whole family went. Greta wanted to see Wicked, so we went to see Wicked in the theater.
Okay. All right.
And then the 2 that I saw in the house on streaming was Conclave, which is on Peacock, and I watched Dune 2. So those I saw 4.
Get the popcorn bucket.
I did I did. Got the popcorn bucket. You get the deal. You get the popcorn bucket and the 2 sodas for $26.
No, wait. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
I must not, because I was thinking the literal popcorn bucket.
Oh. So this is where we've learned that a lot of people listen to the show.
Yeah.
But we used to do this on the radio too. So this will be just like we did on the radio. I want to hear your reaction. I want you to Google right now while a lot of us are looking at you, but while all of us are listening to you. And if you at home, if you're listening and you have never looked at the Dune popcorn bucket, I want you to just go to your phone, type into your little thing, Dune popcorn bucket. Okay?
Okay, I got it.
Now, make sure you're looking at the images for the Dune popcorn bucket.
The top of that bucket looks
like what, Trav? Say it. Say it.
It looks like something you could stick your member into.
What's the Dune popcorn
bucket? Looks like a tickler. How's that? It looks like a tickler. This would be, even though it's not in my neighborhood, this would be something that's for sale.
Yes, at the sex toy superstore that's around the corner from Travis's house.
It's not around the corner.
It's down the street around the corner, not in your neighborhood. It does. When you see this thing, you're gonna. When somebody wrote in the sketch or in the chat, it looks like an SNL skit. You're not going to believe this was a real thing. This was a very real thing. When you went to Dune 2, and you could order the popcorn bucket, and it straight up looks like
a tickler.
A tickler.
A tickler. And not for her, for you. For the dudes.
Seems like people were enjoying that movie. So that when you said you saw Dune 2, the only thing I know about Dune 2 is that the popcorn bucket looks like you're supposed to turn it upside down. Other than that, so the Bob Dylan movie, I've seen that kid on SNL.
Yeah.
The kid that plays Dylan.
Chalamet.
Yeah, I don't think I've got any. I mean, those biopics that came out about the musicians, they don't do it for me.
So you didn't like Walk the Line with Johnny Cash?
That's the one that had River Phoenix in it, right?
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, I like that.
None of them. I've none of them. I saw the one about Elton John.
Oh yeah, I didn't care for that one. Conan O'Brien hosted last night. He did okay. I was sitting there wondering, why does everything start with like a comedy routine? When did that start to when you had to do like a comedy routine to start?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, Mike says Joaquin Phoenix, not River. River's dead.
Yeah,
that's mean.
It's okay. It's a Phoenix.
Yeah. Walk Hard is the only. I'm with JB. Walk Hard is the only biopic that I'm a fan of. What were you asking there? I had to.
Well, no, because like all these award shows start with like a comedy
routine. Question. I think that's a fair question. Like, when did it start that it was a comedian up there or an entertainer that basically had a monologue written for them? I don't know, Trav. And more importantly than I don't know, I don't care.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I watched Shane Gillis on SNL. He hosted SNL for the second time. Had some great skits on that. But the Grammys, is that what it was? But you called it the Academy Awards.
The Academy Awards
so
or the Oscars?
Names? Oh, the Oscars, not Grammys.
No, so you have the Tony Awards, you have the Emmy Awards, you have the Grammys are music, Tonys are like Broadway.
Plays. Yeah.
Emmys are both TV and music. You have the Golden Globes,
and so all of those fit into, what did you call them? The Academy Awards?
Well, no, the Academy Awards is separate. That's the Oscars. The Academy Awards are the Oscars. That's like the mothership.
What was last night?
That was last night.
I don't care. It's amazing to me. Like, I listen to a lot of different podcasts, and some of them are political. Some of them are. It's shocking to me how many people are like, "All right, we're going to break down the movies of the year." According to who? This group of people that get paid to promote certain movie houses and production houses. Oh, okay, yeah. So these are the best movies that were made all year. Well, again, according to these one groups of people that are paid specifically by this group of people to tell you that these are the best movies. But yes, according to all of that system, and now we're going to have other people get up and tell you about how great they are and who the best actor was. You don't get to decide that. We'll tell you who the best actor is. It's just so stupid. It's so fucking dumb.
You hate pretentiousness.
I hate it.
You hate elitism. And I get it. I understand it.
Yeah. I'm not that big of a movie guy, first of all. I don't think being an actor is that special of a skill.
When's the last time you were in a theater?
Pretending to be something you're not is not that difficult. It's not. You're lying. You're good at lying. Oh, cool. Who's the best liar? And then we hero worship these people.
That's true.
We start to think that John Wayne was really a cowboy. We start to think that John Wayne was really a war veteran. It's what he represented. There were real guys that represented that. We could build statues of them. I go down to the Iowa Historical Museum. It's one of my favorite places. It's free to go down to. It's really cool. They have an entire area dedicated to Iowans in film. We have so many people that have done some really amazing things. Really amazing things. Pretending, like one of them's Ashton Kutcher. We have a whole deal about Ashton Kutcher. He pretended to be a teenage stoner and then pranked people.
And he's super famous because of it.
Anyway.
When's the last time you were in a movie theater? Do you have to go back years?
No, not long ago. I take Audrey to the movies.
Do you?
Yeah, we went to one that was actually, speaking of like the movie or the music ones, this one wasn't bad at all. This one was called Piece by Piece. It was a Lego movie, but it's about Pharrell Williams.
About who?
Pharrell Williams. He was a producer. Remember the song Happy? Because I'm happy.
Oh, yeah.
That's Pharrell.
Okay.
That's as much singing as you're going to get out of me on a Monday morning.
Because you're happy.
But you put a couple drinks in me.
And Ross becomes a different man.
The jukebox turns on.
Going back to Friday, Iowa was at Northwestern, got beat by Northwestern. I believe the Hawks have lost 4 of their last 5. 2 games remaining at home against Michigan State on Thursday. Then we'll end the season at Nebraska. It's the most, now it's starting to look like won't make the Big Ten tournament. And we're not going to get into the broken record. It's just broken. There's nothing you can really say.
Travis, that felt like, you ever heard those stories of an old dog on the farm that goes and finds its place to die?
Yes.
Like it's wandering off and everybody's like, oh man, where's the dog going? Where's the team going? It's finding a place to go die. But like, let's remember the good times, cry a couple tears, and start searching for a new puppy. Because that's what's going to make us all feel better. We got to move on.
With no guarantees. I mean, if Darren DeVries were to get the job, no guarantees. If Ben McCullum were to get the job, no guarantees.
Yeah. This is the best damn dog we've ever had on the farm, guys. He wasn't cuddly. He never snuck up and cuddled in at your feet, at the feet of your bed. He's the best dog we've ever had on the farm. So let's remember that. And now this is the end. This is the last couple of times.
What's the average lifespan of a dog? 15 years.
15 years, right. Yeah, it's been a good run. Was he as soft and cuddly as you thought he was going to be when you got him as a puppy? No. This dog was a Wolverine. But statistically best dog we've ever had on the farm.
And Iowa State got the win over the weekend. They beat Arizona. That was a night game. Good win over Arizona. And Cyclones now with 2 games left to play. And so Iowa wins, Iowa loses, Iowa State wins. 2 different seasons. It is a broken record. Broken record.
So, yeah, and nice win for Iowa State. I do think that the interesting part of the Iowa State conversation is just where that seed is going to fall, what they're actually playing for in this Big 12 tournament, because it seems like things are pretty settled there as well.
Right now, they're just playing for seeds, right?
Exactly.
Right now, and CBS Sports had Iowa State a 4 seed in bracketology. If you go to Bracket Matrix, they're still a number 3 seed. So that's kind of going to be where the battle is. And if they win the next,
Cyclone fans will be, and I don't want to say rightfully. What's the right word? You don't want to be on that 4 line. And I think you've had a good enough season. When this team is full strength, when this team is rested, like most teams, they're really good. They're a Final Four caliber team. Being on the 4 line doesn't hurt you, but man, be a lot better to be on that 3.
515-517-2303. That's the number to call if you want to chime in and participate in the show today. You can always leave comments in the comment section if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter. Coming up in hour number 2, Chris Conley from the Iowa Event Center, Wells Fargo Arena, going to join us right around 7:30.
I forgot Chris was jumping on with us this morning. Awesome.
Yes,
That's
so
fun.
he'll join us around 7:30. Of course, the girls' high school tournament gets underway at Wells Fargo Arena today. And we want to talk to him about I'm not going to call it a ticket fiasco with the Caitlin Clark game, but the fact that you didn't have any general public sale, that's a little weird, right? We were talking about it yesterday as we were having lunch, is like you need to set aside like $500 to $1,000 just to make sure that the general public feels they can get one.
I said that right away when this happened and they were all sold out in like whatever that was, 27 minutes.
Yeah.
I said that to a group of guys like, man, I think this is a fail. They should have kept some tickets back for private sale or for public sale. I had a lot of my friends that were like, no, you got to take care of those season ticket holders first. And remember, we had the one listener that told us that they opened it up not only to Carver season ticket holders, but to Indiana Fever season ticket holders. Now, there's some crossover in that Venn diagram, but man, once they did that, that's how they sold out so quickly, and I get it. But it sucks for people that wanted to just be there. Again, we're going to have a pair of tickets to give away.
5-1, yes, we are. And more to come on that over the next week or two on how that's exactly going to be given away. But just know, if you want to see Caitlin Clark play Carver Hawkeye Arena, the Rush Radio Show is the place to find your tickets for absolutely free. It's the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines, Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank.
My name is Corey Allen, and I'm a recon tech at Willis Automotive. Worked here for about a year and 3 months. Was an express tech before this. I was in the automotive field before I came here. Needed a different change of pace from, the management and everything, and someone who already works here, who liked how everything was ran, told me about it, told me that there was a spot open, and told me to give it a shot, and I've liked it ever since. A lot of good people that work here. Everyone's willing to share their knowledge. Yeah, I would say that's about it.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Number 2 of the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. Thanks for listening on the streaming service this morning. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and follow us on our social media channels, X, Facebook, and of course, Instagram. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. We're here till 8 o'clock this morning.
I'm a little bit surprised you didn't know about the Dune popcorn bucket. Like, that's wheelhouse stuff for you.
It is.
Right
I don't know
up your alley.
I don't know why I didn't. After I saw it, I think we talked about it a while back, but it's one of those things that didn't stick in my head.
I remember last year at a St. Patrick's Day party with Courtney. We're outside, and some of the parents were like, "Yeah, the kids are at a movie today." Like, what movie? They like a Dune 2, and I just had heard about the popcorn bucket. And I hadn't met this group of friends. Like, I'd met a few of them, but I didn't really know this group of friends. And so their introduction to me was me going, "Oh, have you seen the popcorn bucket you can stick your member in?" First impressions, Trav.
First impressions. Donald Trump, President of the United States, says he, in the next couple of weeks, will give a full pardon to Pete Rose. And Rob Manfred has now said he will examine the case of Pete Rose and possibly make him eligible for reinstatement to Major League Baseball, which would make him eligible for the Hall of Fame. Doing it posthumously is really weird to me.
It's almost rude.
It's 100%.
You fought this dude his whole life, whole time he was alive. You fought this dude, and man, this is a tough one because this is one of those black and white conversations. People want you to either be full Pete Rose or full anti-Pete Rose, and I think that the truth lies somewhere in the middle. But there's truth that you can't have a baseball Hall of Fame without having Pete Rose and Roger Clemens and Alex Rodriguez and Barry Bonds. You can't have a Hall of Fame without talking about the game's greatest players and just ignoring them because you didn't like a few decisions that they made. But you've got to stand by your principles. So you don't put him into the Hall of Fame, but you acknowledge him. This thing of like baseball banned him, and so therefore he never existed. He can't show up at a ballpark again. Like the huge thing. And then do you remember Jim Gray? Like, I lost all respect for Jim Gray. A lot of people might not even remember that name.
So Jim Gray is or he might still be. Like, he was always like the sideline reporter, and he would do some hard-hitting news stuff. I think he was on NBC for a little bit. He was on ESPN for a little bit. Yeah. I think he does a lot of boxing now on Showtime.
He did hard-hitting sports stuff.
Yes.
He always thought that he was the smartest guy in the room, and he always wanted to make a spectacle out of stuff. He was one of those reporters that wanted to be the story.
He was kind of a gotcha guy.
Yeah. And at that All-Star game, when they finally let Pete Rose back into a Major League game, and he's there and everybody's cheering him, they get in front of a microphone, and the first thing Jim Gray says, "You ready to apologize, Pete?" I've never been a Pete Rose fan. I will never defend Pete Rose. He did some disgusting stuff in his life, not just the gambling stuff. He did some gross things. He was not a great guy. He was not a smart man, but he was one hell of a baseball player. So that stuff should be acknowledged. All of that. Like I've said this about Barry Bonds. They should absolutely tell this entire story. They should tell the entire story in the Hall of Fame. It should be there enshrined forever. So 100 years from now, people remember, holy cow, this guy that had more hits than anybody ever wasn't allowed back in because of these mistakes he made. This guy got kicked out of the game and died basically a pariah to the game because of these decisions that he made. Wow. Okay, so don't gamble on games that you're playing in. Got it. So I think the truth lies somewhere in between, that Pete Rose was not a good guy, and you shouldn't stand up and defend Pete Rose. But this shit of like, you fought this guy for 30, 40 years?
Well, 1989 is when it all started going down, right? Because I remember...
So 35 years. 35 years till he died. My math's close on that.
No, you're right.
And now this is the thing. Like, when we knew he was dying, there were people that were like, even people that were on my side of the fence of like, hey, this guy shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. We're like, oh, by the way, if you're going to do anything, do it now. Do it now. Don't wait till this dude's dead. And they waited till he died. And now, dude, I love how you started this. President Trump is going to pardon Pete Rose. Of course he is. Of course he is.
And he justified it.
Dead guy.
And he justified it. He goes, in the next couple of weeks, I am paraphrasing here, I'm going to fully pardon Pete Rose. He should have never been betting on baseball, but he only bet on his team to win. He justified it by only betting on his team to win.
There's a whole conversation which we've all had in our heads and on radio and everything 1,000 times about whether or not he should be there and all that stuff. That's not. I think most of us would agree. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is waiting 20 years and telling. Saying, oh, yeah, by the way, Penn State didn't win all those football games. Nope, they didn't win all those anymore because we went back and changed the little green W's to red L's.
Michigan in the Fab Five didn't go to the Final Four.
Exactly, right. We made them take down their banner, so they didn't win that. You guys don't remember?
515-517-2303. We're going to change gears just quickly because we're going to come back to Pete Rose. But Derek in New Sharon joins us. Derek, what's going on?
How are we doing on this wonderful Monday, fellas?
Yeah, wait a minute, Derek.
Boy, when times are...
I got to point out it's pretty obvious here. We only hear from you when the Hawkeyes lose.
Well, you hear from me a lot, then, don't you? Hey.
Put that on a T.
I did. That was too easy for him.
Hey, Peterson, when times are tough, you just get back in the house that God built, Hilton Coliseum, and we can't miss a shot. We did turn the ball over too much, but beat another ranked team. That's all we do. That's all we do.
Did turn and that's, I mean, like, you know, if you want to be critical and be a perfectionist, which at this point in the season I think that's fair to be, did turn the ball over a lot, but still, I think everything else you said is also true. When you can turn how many, Travis? What was
they
it?
had 16? They had 16 turnovers, but you know they shot 50% from the field, 52% from behind the 3-point line.
You can suffer those turnovers when you're shooting the ball that well.
That we played knockout defense, but when I become Big Ten commissioner, the Cornville Hawkeyes are going to get.
Heard you one of the finalists, so we're pulling for you, Derek. We've put in a good word.
All right, because I got some ideas. If you can't make your conference basketball tournament, you're going to get relegated to the Sun Belt Conference until you win that league, and then you can prove yourself and get back in. I would say Missouri Valley, but the Cornville Hawks would probably finish 6th in the Missouri Valley.
The Coralville Hawks.
At least we got, yeah. At least we got Drake and Iowa State and you and I to be proud of in this state. You guys, hey fellas, you guys have a great week.
You too, buddy.
Thanks, Derek.
Keep the forklift moving.
Just keep it moving.
Because it doesn't just move forward. If I said keep the forklift moving forward, it'd be like, well, then it can't do its job.
You know, the idea of relegation, that's been brought up in college sports.
I actually love it. I love it.
Now, you'd have to change the whole dynamic of what college sports looks like.
Yeah, but we're blowing this system up anyway.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about the latest rumor is Big Ten and SEC obviously going to break off. We've been. Did you see me to go to adjust my glasses there, Trav? Did you
I
see
did.
That?
Did you get contacts in today? Just to let you know.
Just so you know, you got your contacts in there, kid.
Just to let you know, you don't have any spectacles.
I just did I'm about to make a point. We all know that the Big Ten and SEC are about to break off and do their own thing. The grant of rights for the ACC has made it so that Clemson and Florida State can't get out of there. The only way that they can do that is to drop out completely of the NCAA. So if the Big Ten and SEC create this parachute for them and say, sure, drop out, and then fly right over here, and we got this little safe landing spot for you guys, and we're all going to make way more money. That now we're talking about creating our own thing and doing and having its own league and making it from scratch. Why not have promotion and relegation in that? Why not say there's going to be tiers to this?
Because, you know, in professional football and professional basketball, even professional baseball, you can't do it. There's just not enough teams. I mean, I'm not a big soccer guy. You know that. But the relegation and demotion thing that they have in Europe is pretty cool. And what I think it fits NCAA football and NCAA basketball maybe the best of all the sports that we have.
And there's a big conversation there as to why, but the professional sports model in America is a good old boys network where you see it with MLS. All right. For a long time, there was a good case to be made that the MLS was actually a Ponzi scheme, that they were falsely building up the value of these franchises to sell more franchises. You couldn't convince other cities to buy in unless you could convince them that these things were making a ton of money. So they lied. They faked it till they maked it. They said, hey, yeah, we're all cashing huge checks. Making a lot of money.
We will.
If you all just buy in, we will.
I would say maybe more so on the women's side than the men's side. I mean, the latest women's soccer franchise I went for a boatload of money. And I'm like, how are you going to make that back?
And then once you buy in, so imagine you're a person with $1 bajillion and somebody comes to you and says, hey, I want you to buy into this soccer league. Give me your millions of dollars. Okay? So now I give you my millions of dollars. Now at the next board meeting, somebody says, hey, by the way, there's these other people. They didn't spend millions of dollars. They spent a couple thousand. They've built their little bar team. and they want to come and compete with you guys and take your spot in the league. We're good. We're good. You mean me and my friends that have all spent all of our money to buy these franchises and buy into this league, you want us to potentially lose our spot in the league because our team isn't as... No, that's how we get the American sports model of this is our team. This is our league, this box. And if we're going to build on the box, then you're going to have to spend a bunch of money to get into the box. But this thing of winning your way in, no, we don't do that in the American sports model. That's again, it's just so you can't do it. The only way to start it is when you're blowing something up and starting it from scratch. That'll never happen with our major sports in America. Certainly not in any of our lifetimes or our children's lifetimes, I'd say.
Because let's use college basketball as an example. How many college basketball teams can technically make the NCAA? Like 340?
Something like yeah. Whatever, the number's ridiculous.
No, I know at the end it works itself out.
Yeah,
but it would be nice to say, hey, you all, if you can win down here, then you might get a chance to play with the big boys.
And think, if you're a soccer fan at all, even if you're not, if you're a sports fan, that's some of the most dramatic-filled, tense sports moments, that thrill of victory that we all talk about and that we love sports for. Man, when a team wins promotion at Wembley Stadium.
Think about what you could do in football, right? And that is you have different divisions, but you could have Division III play itself up into Division II without changing divisions. Or let's use a Northern Iowa or a South Dakota State or North Dakota State. Okay, you can relegate yourself up to the. Now you got to stay there.
Yeah,
but that would be interesting if we had that type of ladder system.
Trav, I think I like the system that you're talking about. I think you probably picked bad names. I hate to say that to the UNI fans of the world, but like with this new system that's going to happen, you're going to have the Big Ten and the SEC and probably a couple of more teams come along.
Yeah.
So that second tier that's going to be, let's say Iowa State is one of those teams that gets to come along, right? But they might not be. I think they should be.
I think they would be.
They definitely should be. But let's say that a Kansas is not. So Kansas is now like a Division II or Tier 2 or whatever you call that second league. And again, Kansas is probably a bad example too. I don't know where the line's drawn. I don't know where the Big Ten and SEC say you're in and you're out.
It would have to be the number of teams you would want in the tiered system. Is that 70? Yeah. Is that 80? Is it 60? That's what you'd have to determine. And I guess what I was using, a South Dakota State or a North Dakota State is that because that's the best of the FCS, right?
And those are programs that would definitely be in that mix to go, hey, what about us? We can compete. Give us time. Anyway. So I'm down. I would love the relegation promotion thing. It probably would work best in football right away because we're getting ready to blow that system up.
It would be a paradigm shift that would shock people, right? That would be a very hard change to get used to.
Yeah. I wish we did hear from Derek on days when the Hawkeyes didn't just lose. The dancing on Fran's grave.
Yeah, because we've been doing that long enough.
It's not. I think you can see it and feel. It's not a fun conversation for Hawkeye fans. It's not. It's not fun to talk to your Hawkeye friends about basketball or about Fran. So it just is like, man. I'm not rooting against the guy. I'm not rooting against the guy. I'm not rooting against the team. But I'm looking for the new puppy.
Nothing wrong with a nice new puppy. I was out at our buddy Pat's house the other day. He just got a brand new puppy. Got a brand new black lab.
Oh.
Beautiful dog.
You ever had a black lab?
Dog. What's that?
Have you ever had a black lab?
I know.
First couple dogs I had were labs. One of them was a black lab. Shadow.
Shadow. Beware the shadow. Jamie Pollard got a contract extension that's going to keep him in Ames through 2030. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, we're talking about, if not the best athletic director in the country, and I don't say that lightly. I think he's like the second or third longest tenured athletic director in the country. But the way he has handled finances, built culture, done everything at Iowa State, you go, why not longer? Why not make it a lifetime contract? Well, you wonder how long Jamie wants to work. Right? I mean, he should have enough money now. He was an accountant by trade, so I'm sure he's managed his finances really well. And you wonder, once the Chi-Town project gets over, if that's going to be like, you know what? I've done all I can do here.
That's a legacy.
That's a legacy.
I mean, not just that. That kind of minimizes it. If we honestly, let's fast forward 10 years. Chi-Town's done, or to 2030 when this contract is over, so 5 years ahead. Chi-Town's done. Jamie Pollard announces his retirement. It's hard to put a singular thing on what Jamie Pollard's legacy would be. It'd be hard. A lot of people might point to Chi-Town because it'll be the new bright, shiny toy bowling in Jack Trice Stadium. I think that if you had to put a singular thing on it, you'd just have to say the athletic department. It's a completely different world. And when you say Jamie Pollard's the best athletic director in the country, I think that I think the other qualifier that I would put on it, because I don't know all the athletic directors in the country, but man, I can't imagine a guy that was better for Iowa State. Like even go back to the stuff like he just kind of had the right attitude for the mission at any time. You can take a snapshot of any time in Jamie Pollard's time there. Iowa fans might not like it, but let's go back to like the billboard in Iowa City, right? Remember when he bought the billboard outside of Iowa City? That was the attitude. That was the attitude that Iowa State needed. It was the attitude that Iowa State fans needed of like, hey, we're kind of sick of being the underdog. We're kind of sick of being the little brother and the afterthought. We're not. We're just like you guys. And Iowa fans are like, oh, who's this guy think he is? Jamie Pollard, who does he think he is? Well, he thinks he is who he is. He thinks he's the athletic director of a Division I school in this state, just like is happening in Iowa City.
Equal footing.
Equal. And if you don't see it, and then again, just look at what happened during that time. It absolutely, we all saw that gap go like this. And Jamie Pollard's attitude change. It went from that of the, hey, I'm coming, to the, hey, I'm here. And now it's almost above reproach, right? Where I think you'd have a hard time, again, putting your finger on the legacy that is Jamie Pollard. Is it T.J. Otzelberger? Is it Matt Campbell?
I think it's the entire athletic department. I really do.
It's hard to put a finger on it.
Yeah, and Bill Fenley. I know he didn't hire Bill Fenley, but
gave him the resources and kept him around and gave him that longevity and all that. Right.
If I were to ask you right now, what athletic department do you think's in better shape? Not financially, just if you were to say, hey, what athletic department stands out to you? I would say Iowa State over Iowa. I would.
In what? When you say
just perception, just perception.
I kind of see in perception. I think I kind of see them still on equal footing. Now, from a media standpoint, there's glaring differences between the two of them. There have been for a long time. It's a lot easier. It always was easier to work with Iowa State when we were. It was so much easier to get their coaches on to be a part of their media stuff. It was just so much easier. Less hoops to jump through. You didn't have handler upon handler upon handler for an assistant coach. You had their number. You could say, hey, Coach Fenley, you want to hop on with us? So Iowa State's always been easier to work with.
Less arrogant.
Good word for it. And I would say that thing has changed too.
True.
where that used to be here, where Iowa was like, oh my gosh, impossible, and Iowa State was super easy, that kind of went like this.
And the reason being is when demand goes up,
yes,
you have to manage time better.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. I mean, let's look at NASCAR. What made NASCAR so popular? Everybody talks about in the early days, it was the accessibility to the drivers. They would want to promote their sport. Then NASCAR took off, and now where does NASCAR even fall on the realm of things right now? I can't even tell you who like the best drivers are. I used to be able to give you drivers.
Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson's the most famous driver on the planet right now. NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen is the most famous driver, but anyway.
Is that a F1 guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the F1 guy.
The F1 guy?
He's the F1 always has one guy. Before him, it was Lewis Hamilton. And who knows who'll be next, but there will be another guy that comes up and Lando.
I know nothing about F1. All I know is they're on a road track, and it's hard for me to even comprehend. Know nothing about F1.
They're incredible machines. It is like the epitome of engineering and speed, and they're incredible. They're potato chips too. They bump into each other and they just crumble. There's nothing like NASCAR. NASCAR, they're bumping and grinding and slamming into each other. F1, they touch each other, and it's like, oh, we got wing damage. We can't get to 375 miles an hour anymore. Pull the car off the track.
Did you watch that Netflix series then, I take it?
Yeah,
that's where a lot of people fell in love with
Drive to Survive was where that really hooked me in. And then again, man, I'm still enough of a video game nerd. From time to time, I'll pop in a video game, and I love I haven't played it in years, but the F1 video game gets you into it.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with me in soccer.
All roads lead to the video games. 515-517-2303. That's the number to call if you want to participate in the show. When we come back, Chris Conley from the Iowa Event Center, Wells Fargo Arena, going to be joining us. We have the girls' high school basketball tournament getting underway at Wells Fargo Arena. Lots of stuff going on down there, and some other big events coming up that we'll talk to Chris about. It is the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Ollinger, Service Director at Willis Nissan. February is here. Love is in the air. Valentine's Day is around the corner. Flowers, chocolates, brakes, oil changes, batteries. Get your car checked today. Go online to willisnissan.com to make your appointment. Happy Valentine's Day.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Missing a quality, home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Hey, I'm Mason out here at Mini of Des Moines, one of the motor advisors. Currently this month, Love is in the Air. We are doing a $1,000 mini loyalty on Countryman, $750 on all other models excluding the BEV. Also, we are doing a $500 Conquest cash on select models, so you do get a benefit even if you're not a Mini owner. So for more information, stop at our showroom, come see me. We're happy to get that information going, or see us on our Mini website, miniofdesmoines.com.
Listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long at therushradio.com. Just click that Listen Live link or download the podcast. It's right there or wherever you download your podcast. I'm Travis Justice. He is Ross Peterson. And Ross, it's going to be a busy couple weeks at Wells Fargo Arena and the Iowa Event Center.
Crazy busy. This is a weird time for Chris and his team, Chris Connolly and his team, because it is like constant turnover. I'm always interested in this time because usually, Chris, when you talk to him, like, man, is this a wild time? They go, we love it.
Yeah, you're better off busy than not busy.
That's a good point.
Chris Connolly joins us now. He's in his office, but what time the doors open at Wells Fargo today for the girls' state basketball tournament?
Doors open at 9. First game starts at 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, do you just got the cot set up there in the office? The sleeping bag, the pillow, everything like that?
No, I actually took a break yesterday, but we had AAU wrestling over the weekend, which was great. It was busy. Like, I think it went until about 9:30 on Saturday night. So that was all day. Finished up yesterday afternoon, and then boom, get ready right for girls basketball this morning.
Okay, so like the AA, very different events here because the AAU wrestling tournament, you've got a lot of turnover in that, Chris. But with basketball, there's turnover, but it's more of a routine set turnover. Like, how does that change the logistics?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, Ross, we do it. This is the same schedule every year, right? So we're pretty used to it. And a lot really depends on how late the wrestling goes on the Sunday. And you've been to tournaments, like you have injuries, you have things that slow up the competition. And luckily it went well. And the girls union, like, they're chomping at the bit. They're ready to roll. Like, they need to come in.
Standing on the sideline waiting for it to be done.
They are, because they play a big role in it too. Like, think about all the signage and all the temporary stuff that needs to go up while our guys are busy really truly getting the floor down and getting that ready. So there's a lot going on.
Man, it really is logistics, right? When people think logistics, they're thinking
this is what that word means.
Yeah, this is what logistics means.
Yeah. It's a lot, guys. Like, literally, you go from high school state wrestling, which is it's a bear. And then you go through a week where, look, from Wednesday through Friday, it was bitter cold out. So the challenge that we had to deal with for most of the week was that none of the wrestling fans, and obviously nobody wanted to be outside. So everybody was entering and exiting our Skywalk entrance, right? Like, so there was one point last week, literally, where I was coming back from a meeting at Capitol Square, and the lineup was all the way down to the Hilton Hotel on the Skywalk. So there's thousands of people getting ready to come into that next session, right? So it's like, for us, like including me, all of our full-timers are in. We're all jumping in. We're helping with that. All of our main people worked every single flip last week because really it was that cold. Nobody wanted to be outside, which we got. But it was a separate challenge, right? Because you have, you get your first session done. You have thousands of people waiting to get in for the second session. We have 15 or 20 minutes to do a quick clean and get it ready. And it's just as important for those people in the next session. So it's a lot, but I think we got a good formula, and I think we did a good job. My point is, though, there's no rest, right? Then, boom, you go right into 2 Wolves games. You had Wild last Wednesday. The Wolves played on Friday night, and that was the Minnesota Timberwolves night. I don't know if you guys saw it, but they had Christian Leitner in and Sam Mitchell, and that was their biggest night of the year. Then right into AAU wrestling, right into girls basketball. So there's not a break, but man, we have such a good team, and they're seasoned, and like everybody knows what is going on. It's about communication and being prepared, and I feel like we do a good job of that.
Chris Connolly from the Iowa Event Center, Wells Fargo Arena, joining us on the Rush Radio Show. I know you probably want to tread lightly on this, but I want to bring up the Caitlin Clark game in Iowa City. They did a pre-sale and sold out in 26 minutes, and there was supposed to be a general public sale on Friday, but they didn't do that because it was all sold out. Now, when Des Moines has the NCAA basketball tournament, you have a pre-sale, but you also have a general public sale. And should there have been a general public sale for these? I mean, do you usually just say, hey, we need to hold back 1,000 tickets or whatever? Because I'm assuming that if you wanted to pre-sale the entire NCAA basketball tournament, you could probably sell that out pretty quickly.
Yeah, look, I think, and I'm happy to talk about this, and it's really my opinion and the experience that we've had over the years, and even in different buildings. Like, I've never seen that, guys. I've never seen an event go on sale where it fully sold out as a pre-sale. Like, I've just never seen that. Wow. Okay, and what I would say is, to be fair, I don't know who organized that or what their plans were, and also, to be fair, holy cow, guys. I mean, I think they're basically sold out in women's basketball and season ticket holders.
Yeah. Right.
So that's a little different challenge. But look, that's when you have to start taking a look at, like, what are the limits? Do they get what they just have contracted tickets for? I don't know. I mean, Trav, you're right. Back in 2016, we hosted men's basketball here for the first time, NCAA men's first and second round. We could have easily sold out as part of the presale. There's no doubt about it. That's how strong the demand was. Fortunately for us, we had some say in it. And obviously the NCAA had most of the say, but we talked to them about it, and no matter what, there were going to be a certain number of tickets held back at various price levels so that the public would have a shot. And that's what we've done. And it's not even just NCAA basketball. I mean, take a look at your Pinks, your Garth Brooks over the years. Like, look, I mean, we have a pretty robust cyber club list, right? Like, people that follow our events and want to come to events, they join our cyber club, and 99% of the time they have an opportunity at a pre-sale. But most of the time with those concerts, like, we're at risk and we're partnering with the promoter. So we have some skin in the game and we have some say. I'm just saying, on our end, I've never seen it where it's completely sold out as part of the presale. And that's not something that I'd ever really want to be a part of. I just don't think it's fair.
I think that the interesting part of that, Trav, is who was making that decision is, like Chris was saying, that could have been a bevy of people in this situation. You've got Iowa, sure. You've got the WNBA, you've got an international team involved.
Well, and you have a separate, I think it's like Pro Sport was like
promotional
event.
Arm that's a part of this. So who was making that decision is probably anyway.
And the other thing too, I don't want to assume certain things because I was not in the room. I don't know what they decided, but you have to be prepared way ahead of time. Like, you got to really anticipate how many tickets you think you can sell. And that's really where the limits come in, right? Like, you got to limit these people. And I think once the ball started rolling, they couldn't stop it, and it was too late. And I think that's a shame. I mean, we had the same thing. This goes back to 2013. We hosted the NCAA Wrestling Championships here in Wells. We just met spec of having over 16,000 seats available. And even though it was limited, we still had a public on sale, and we had 1,200 or 1,300 tickets available. But everybody at the table felt like it was important, and I really do. So again, not to be critical, I don't know who made the decisions, and it's tough. When you have that many season ticket holders, credit to them that they have that kind of a problem. That's awesome.
And again, I think a lot of chefs in the kitchen there when you're talking about all these different folks. Can we talk another one? I tread lightly here. I don't even know where to start with this, but I'll just be completely honest with you. Yesterday, Trav and Owen came to town. We ended up getting lunch, and while we're sitting at lunch, the subject came up. My son Eli had said, "Hey, Dad, UFC is coming to Des Moines." And so Travis and I are talking about, like, man, have they announced that UFC? And so I look up, you can buy tickets on StubHub for a UFC event in Des Moines. What's going on?
That's kind of comical because, look, what I would say to this is that, and I've talked to you guys about it, and I have no problem having conversation, but we've been working on UFC for a long time, and we have a target date in mind. And if you guys follow UFC will announce and go on sale, and then in 2 months, the actual event happens, right?
Yeah.
So that's how that works. We haven't publicly announced it, although you go to different chat rooms and you can see that Des Moines has, been targeted. I can tell you guys on my end that we've done a site visit with UFC here recently where they've come in. It's a huge production. It's funny that they're selling tickets because we don't have locked in ticket prices yet. So that's interesting.
So yeah, I think the point of this is be very careful.
You have to be careful. And that, Ross, it happens a lot on the secondary sites, right? So I would be careful. I would tell you guys this. I think we're close to getting this thing locked in and confirmed. And until that gets done, it's tough to say much, but we feel pretty confident. We're seeing a lot of the stuff that you guys see, right? Like we feel good about it. We feel like they're going to be here. They're targeting sometime in May, which would be awesome. And guys, this would be, we've never hosted an event like this. And, you know, they don't grow on trees. It would be a great opportunity. I can tell you guys this, that the CVB, Catch Des Moines, like they're very involved. We would treat this very similar to how we do NCAA basketball in that, hey, this is the audition. We got to sell some tickets. We got to set it up well. We got to treat them right. And I think we have all of that in place. And if that happens, I feel good. We'll get it back again. It's a big event for us.
My question would be, if there's tickets on sale on StubHub and you haven't put tickets out for sale, what tickets are they selling?
They don't have any. It's for future, or it's almost like you're paying a deposit for a ticket. And that's why exactly what Ross said. I'd be careful. I'm telling you guys this, like, we do not have set ticket prices yet. We have an idea on what it's going to look like, but that was the point of the site visit. Like with this production, there are a lot of kills and there are a lot of different things that are in play. And the biggest thing for that is it's like with cameras and whatnot, we got to figure out what our capacity is. Once we get our capacity, then you start doing a price breakdown. And I'm just telling you, that's not all complete yet.
That's interesting.
That's wild. So, Chris, thank you for being, because that's exactly what we were kind of feeling on. It was like, well, there's nothing official out here.
Yep.
But man, you can. This is weird that you can find tickets where you normally wouldn't find them. So that answers all of it. Thank you.
So do you negotiate straight with Dana White?
No, I don't. They obviously have people working for him, but he's pretty involved. Like, you know, when we start talking specs and rider and like what even his location would be, that piece is very involved, but I don't deal with him directly.
I assume Prairie Meadows. I mean, he's got to be at a casino, right?
Outside of here, I don't really get involved, but no, we're just talking about where his locker room would be. And, you know, obviously he would have VIPs on site and there would be a certain amount of hospitality. So we look between, hey, do we do that somewhere in a makeshift area in the arena? Do we have them in the convention center? There's a lot of stuff that we're dealing with. And, I don't know, guys. It's really cool. Like we talked about, it's going to come up quick. It hasn't formally been announced. And once it does, you'll see there's a couple other pieces that are tied together with UFC. That's pretty neat too. That's going to be a neat opportunity for us. And I think there's some of the things that we're still working through, and that's probably why it hasn't been announced yet.
How often do they leave like a Vegas or something like that? Do they do a lot of other the last UFC event I was in was at the old Omaha Civic Auditorium, which doesn't even exist anymore. I watched Houston Alexander get his butt kicked. But do they go outside of Vegas and Dubai a lot or not?
They do. They do. And like even the fight night that we're working on, they were just most recently in Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle. And like that's one of our Oakview venue group managed buildings that we run. So we were able to get a ton of data from this. I mean, guys, if we get this thing, like, you're looking at doors open at like 5 o'clock at night, the first prelim bout starting at 6 o'clock at night, and it could very well go to midnight. I mean, it's a long, long day, long night. So there's some of the stuff that we're working on now. I don't mind talking about it. We're really keeping our fingers crossed. There are a lot of things at play and a lot of different groups locally here or that are coming together to try and make this work.
And
it's a big deal.
A lot of people excited about it too, Chris. I mean, you know, there's a lot. This is a good market for UFC.
Yeah, it's massive. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. You guys are talking about on sales and pre-sales. I've never done one of these, okay? Like, we've seen decks and we've seen different things. And, like, you know, they use Louisville as an example to Des Moines. There's a huge chunk of people that will travel into Des Moines just for this event. There is an economic impact. People will fly and drive in, stay at the hotels, go to the event. It's going to be interesting, right? And I think the demand for the tickets is going to be high. There's going to be some tickets held back for UFC, similar to like an NCAA tournament, and it's going to be interesting. I've never done it before. So we really, you know, we're talking about the subject now. We need to be on our game. We need to get some history. We need to understand just about everything. Because like we talked about, we're definitely going to have a public on sale. How many tickets we'll have for that, I don't know.
Interesting. What would be your ideal seating for this? I mean, Wells Fargo seats, 14 plus? Would you have to lose like a couple thousand seats, or would it be right around that 14,000?
Well, since you guys know, since the cage would technically be in the center, we'd be in the round. So that opens everything up, right? Like all of our seats. And in addition to that, we would have seats on the floor. So right now we're still working on that. Like literally, we just met with these guys last week to go through screens and cameras and like all these different things. Trav, I think we're going to be somewhere between 15 and 16,000.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And probably not a cheap ticket.
If you want to sit close, it'll be pretty pricey.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? That's the cost of entertainment. And there's always somebody who's going to pay for it.
It
always
is. It is. And look,
this is an event. This is a moment in Des Moines. I mean, this is a moment. This is a time a lot of people have been waiting for, Trav.
Guys, it's so interesting. Just like it's been a couple months now that I've been part of this process, like well before Christmas time. You know, we've been engaged in talking to them. And I personally am not a huge UFC fan. Not that I don't like it. I just haven't engaged in it, right? Like I don't know the sport that well. And as we started going through this process and I started looking at it, I could not believe the amount of people that travel in for this type of an event. That blew me away. And then we started taking a look at like how many hotel rooms are needed for the fighters and the crews and TV and Dana White's group. Like right away, my first phone call was to Greg Edwards, right? And I'm like, I'm going to need help here. And it's simple stuff that you wouldn't think of, but you know, Des Moines is busy. Like we have other activities going on during this Target weekend that we're looking at UFC. So a lot of times UFC can come into these bigger cities and like, boom, they have 2 hotels that are like right next to the arena. They take all the rooms. They're good to go. Well, here we got to be creative. You guys know our situation, right? Like these big citywide events, they're using all of the big hotels downtown. So again, like we really had to rely on the CVB. Simple stuff. The fighters that are in rooms, they need it. They require tubs in their rooms. Why is that? For the ice baths. And it's like we laughed at first, but we didn't have it. Like, man, I credit people ask a lot of times, like, why are you successful in Des Moines? It's because everybody gets it. Like the Marriott jumps in, the Hilton jumps in. It's like everybody's in the same room saying, all right, what do we need to do to make this happen? Not that, oh, this is a pain in the ass. What do we need to do to make it happen? And Greg leads that, right? You treat them well. You bring in these events. Guys, they know what kind of impact this would be, getting the UFC in. But I mean it. It does not happen everywhere like that. But it does in Des Moines. Like this could have – we had everything figured out. We had a deal figured out. We had a date. We had a plan. And then we got to the hotels, and I'm literally being told because not enough tubs, this might not happen. We might have to look at another date. So I don't know. That's just a small example.
So can you give us the specific? I mean, were there literally hotels that were like, we're going to put tubs in?
No, not that, Ross. I mean, they exist. Like what we needed existed, but like they were already booked for other things, like not known, right? So then it's like, all right, how do we get creative? How can we work with the other group and move some people around? And I'll tell you what, it wasn't easy. There was probably a week or two where I'm like, damn it, we're going to lose this. And
over
tubs. And then the crazy thing is, like, we started looking at some alternative dates, and like, we are busy around here. Like UFC almost has to kind of be on its own to make it work. Right. Wow. And anyway, that's just one small example. And it's just a credit to everybody here locally, you know, rolling their sleeves up saying, no, there's a little bit of an issue, but we're going to make it work. And they did.
Man, I love it. That's an awesome insight, Chris. Thank you so much for that. That's really cool.
Absolutely. I honestly, Ross, I think that's why, you know, I've been in a lot of different places. I really have. And like just this March, in like 2 weeks, this will be 14 years that I've been in Des Moines, you know, at the Iowa Event Center. And the reason I would not want to go anywhere is because of this. Like the county owns the facility. Like look around. Like we keep throwing capital dollars back into this building so we can stay competitive. We've turned 20. We're turning 20, and it doesn't look like a 20-year-old building. So Polk County, the owner, they get it. They support us. They keep doing it. Look at the Hall of Pride that just got renovated into a beautiful new junior ballroom. Omaha's doing things. We need to stay competitive with other facilities, but that's a small piece. So you got the owner. They get it. They put money back into the building. They support us. They're an advocate. Look at the CVB. Look at the Greater Des Moines Partnership. All of the local players, everybody's swimming in the same lane, going in the same direction. And that's why we do so well. It's great to be here.
Excellent stuff. Chris, always good catching up. We know you're going to be busy over the next couple of weeks when that UFC official announcement comes out. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll get you back on and we can tell people ticket prices and and even more
And
of how
where
this
to
all
get the
thing
tickets.
and where to get the tickets.
Yeah, right.
We'll get you guys everything. Appreciate the support, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thanks,
Talk to you
Chris.
soon,
Have a
buddy.
great week.
Appreciate it. Yep. Who would have thought tubs, Ross? Tubs.
When was the last time you were in a tub in a hotel?
Well, you mean actually taking a bath?
I didn't ask what you were doing in the tub. I said, when was the last time you were in a tub in a hotel?
Just in Santa Fe. So because
really?
the shower also included a tub. Now, I would say more and more newer hotels that I go to skip the tub altogether. You just have the walk-in shower, you take a shower, you get out. But the hotel I was in Santa Fe actually had tubs. And so I had to step over and do that.
Okay,
Now,
so you may have answered. I mean, I think you already tipped your hand a little bit here, because you wanted me to clarify when was the last time you took a bath in a tub.
Yes.
When was the last time you took a bath in a tub in a hotel?
Oh, never.
I don't think I have done that since I was a little kid.
I haven't. I don't think I've taken a bath in probably
never would have guessed
20
that
years.
In fact, I would have thought that they brought, you know how they have those portable inflatable ice tubs?
Yes.
I would have thought that they all carried those with their, on their own, kind of.
So not only do the hotels have to have tubs, they better have ice machines as well. Everybody's running down with a little bucket, and they're filling up the bucket, and then they fill up the tub. Tubs. Who would have thought? Because I'm anti-bath. I'm totally anti-bath because I always feel that you're just bathing in your own filth. Shower, it just runs off you, goes in the drain. If you're in the tub, well, you're sitting in your filth. That's the way I look at it. Now, Greta,
awesome insight that we first of all, because I've heard a lot of people talking about the UFC lately, Trav. A lot of people. I've been saying UFC's coming to town. This is the date. Here's who's fighting in Des Moines. None of that's been locked in.
Buyer beware. If you see those tickets on StubHub, do not buy those. There's no guarantee.
Trav, I don't even I'm even getting texts from people that are like, wait, I was at a charity auction and they auctioned off tickets to the UFC in Des Moines.
No, they didn't.
I'm wondering what I mean, I don't know. I
mean, let's use the Caitlin Clark tickets. We know we have those tickets physically in possession, right? I mean, we got a phone call, got the tickets, confirmed. Not secondary market tickets.
So I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I'm not saying that people have been duped or lied. I don't know. I don't know. That's where I'll leave it at that. Period.
We do want to welcome somebody new to the team, and that is our good buddy Ken Payne. Ken Payne is joining the good folks at Choice Creative. Ken was, I think, the only salesperson at iHeart who sold our show, right? Is that safe to say, Ross?
Yeah. I mean, there were...
Or the only one who cared about it.
Yeah, man. Ken was our guy. We talked about it openly on the air. Ken was the guy that went out and actually liked us and told other people good things about us. So
promoted us?
What's that?
Promoted us?
Supported us, promoted us. We had other sales. I don't mean this as a knock against all the other salespeople. I will say this. We're really excited about bringing Ken on board on our team here. This feels like a big win for us because Ken was highly sought after. What was that phrase we had earlier for Ben McCollum? Girl with the curl. Ken was the Ben McCollum on the free agent market there for a moment, and so it was nice. We were able to pull the NIL dollars together and bring in the big recruit.
And it's good to have. Yeah, we feel we got. The NIL was a little high with Ken. A little high. Luckily, we didn't have to pay it.
Well, no,
yeah, we. Now you went to his going away party the other day. Can you want to tell this story or not?
No, I don't.
Okay, sorry. But you went to his going away party, which was really, really nice.
Yeah, and saw a couple of old coworkers there. That was awesome. A few of those salespeople that also were supportive of us. That again, that's why I don't want to say Ken was the only one. We had other people that supported us and helped us out. Nothing on the level that Ken did. So that, but yeah, a couple of people from iHeart were there, but a lot of people from his new team were there. That was cool to see.
Hey, the Missouri Valley Conference just announced its bracket for Arch Madness. So your Thursday games are going to be Southern Illinois against Indiana State, Illinois State against Missouri State, Murray State against Evansville, and UIC against Valparaiso. What this means is Drake will play the winner of game number 1, which is Southern Illinois or Indiana State, and Northern Iowa will play the winner of game number 4, which is UIC or Valparaiso. So that's where the official bracket is out. We know where teams sit. They had to wait for the NET rankings to come out, but so we now know that Drake's going to play either Southern or Indiana State, and Northern Iowa will play UIC or Valpo.
Okay.
So, yeah. Drake's
now we know.
Now we know. And
We'll wait to hear from Chris Connolly to get the now we knows about UFC.
Yes. That still freaks me out that StubHub, because they noticed it yesterday. We got Marcus on the chat said 200 for nosebleeds, because you were looking at like top row, upper tier on StubHub was $200. And we're like, man, that's incredible for nosebleeds. And then we find out that there aren't even real tickets available yet.
Wait and see. I don't even know what to say about it, man. I really don't.
Big plans today?
Yeah, got some presentations to make. Gonna hopefully get some more listings. Got some things to get in line for that sold sign that went up in Ogden over the weekend. So yeah, real estating all day, baby.
Real estating all day. That's what he does best. Because you want a sold sign in front of your house, it's Ross Peterson.
You can't see the number because of the I got to get the blackout curtains. That's my next thing is do that.
Well, Chris really needed the blackout curtains. I don't know if he had like the
saw
the halo of God coming in on him, which is
I saw.
All right, folks. That was a fun show.
That was a fun show. Thanks so much, buddy.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. So if you are curious about, where to find us, just go to therushradio.com. If you watch this video or this show on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then follow us on social media, X, Facebook, and Instagram. This is The Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bobby here at Land Rover Des Moines. Just wanted to say it's February, so I invite you to come in and fall in love with a Land Rover. We've got over 43 of them in stock and 2.9% financing on select vehicles. You'll never find a better time to fall in love with something just like this. So call, click, or visit us at LandRoverDesMoines.com or stop down in the showroom and see one in person. You'll be glad you did.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.